I think I'm live. All right. Hi everybody, welcome to another video. This is my first live doing. I'm doing. I don't know how. Maybe there might be technical issues or stuff, but if it's all right, so I'm guessing it's all right, as I can see that it says I'm live and it's going on okay. So let's just get started with the video. So today, what I was planning was I wanted to create a custom hook in React. So as you might have already known that there are some hooks that we use in React like useState, useRef, useEffect. So, and there are some other custom hooks that some other people has created for themselves, as well as they have deployed it in the npmjs.org, such as like npm packages, where you can use those things, like install them and then use it for your own application. So today in this video, I'm going to create a custom hook for myself, and you can see that I will be actually doing it in an application, and I will be using it in that application as well. So basically my idea was, maybe people search for recipes and then people tend to create applications based on recipes, which you may call recipe application. So the thing is, I'm going to create a hook, which I'm going to name it use recipes or use recipe. Like we will just go along with the coding. And with that, it will be fetching some recipes from an API, and you can just retrieve the data in your application and display it however you want. So the application that I'm going to create, this is just a simple application where you are going to search for you will have a search term, and based on that search term, the specific recipe or a set of recipes, like different sort of dishes, will be retrieved and displayed in the front end. So the thing is, if you understand that these are done with the help of APIs, different sort of recipe APIs that you may find with like paid, that some are free. Well, I'm using one which I don't even need to use any API key or API secret, so it doesn't have that much of data, I know, but this is just for the purpose of the video. So let's just code along, and I hope you will enjoy it. So let's get started. So for the sake of the video, I think I'm going to minimize my image, the video capture, so it will be easy for you to see the whole screen. All right. So as you can see that we have VS Code open, what we are going to do is open up a terminal, and we will be doing npx create react app. And we will be creating the React app in this directory. So I think that would be it. So it'll take some time. Let's see. Okay. So it says, okay. So I'm just going to rename this in small letters, everything in small letters. So let's just close it first. Okay, let's just open one more. Custom hook recipe. Okay, so let's open VS Code here. All right, so we are going to start everything from scratch. So let's open up a terminal here again, and let's write npx create react app and dot. I hope this won't create a problem. I'm just going to close these things. So this is taking some time. So in the meantime, what I want to say about the application or the hook that we are creating. So you are going to see some usages of some already built-in hooks that are already present. and we are going to use those hooks as well to assist us create our custom hook. So I think we are almost done with this, and once we are done, we will be just running the application at first. But before that, let me show you the API. If we go to the browser, and you can see that this is the API. Let's search for chicken. So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. You can see that we can retrieve the data from the API from meals. And as I have searched for chicken, if you can see, I don't think you might be able to see it properly, but as these are so small, but the search term was chicken. And you can see that there are multiple recipes or multiple chicken dishes. This is chicken kongi, this is chicken handi, then there is chicken karaagi, chicken meringue, and so on. Tandoori chicken. So there are some dishes, as you can see here. So we're going to use this API and we are going to display the data from this API. The application that we are going to create is just going to have a search term, as I said before. You're going to search for this search term. Instead of chicken, you may write like beef. And now you can see that there are some meals or dishes that are referring to beef dishes. So yeah, so that's what we're going to use. So let's get back. And yeah, we have happy hacking. So what I'm going to do is, at first I'll go to the app CSS, and I'm just going to make a small padding. This will be 100 pixels. Okay, I'm saving it, and I won't be coming back to this. This is unnecessary. I just did it for myself. So in the app.js, as you can see that we don't need any of this, but before that, let's just start the application. Okay, so this will take some time to start. Okay. Okay, so you can see the padding. Okay, I think this looks fine. So what we are going to do is we will be removing this, and I won't be bothered about the CSS that much, but let's just make it very simple. We will be having, let's go for a center tag first. And we will be having an h1 tag, which will consist of recipe generator app. Then, as I said, that we will be having a search term, so search field. So let's go with the form. And inside the form, there will be an input field, which will have a placeholder. And we will name the placeholder, or we will write inside the placeholder as search for food recipe. Okay. And it's a self-closing tab. And within the form, this is the form. Okay, after the form, then we need a button as well. So let's create the button. And the button will be generate recipe. Okay, let's save it and let's see what we get. Yeah, so this is what I was expecting. Recipe generator app. Let's make the G capital. Okay, recipe generator app, and you can search for a food here. Like we have searched for chicken, beef, and this will generate the recipe. So the first thing that we will be doing is we will be creating the custom hook. So we are going to go back here in the source. We are going to create a new folder which is called hooks. And inside hooks, we will be creating a file which we will be naming as useRecipe. So useRecipe. .js. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to close it for now. Okay, let's start. So the first things first, let's use recipe. And we are going to pass query from here. That is the search term. You're going to see how we are using it. So inside this, what we're going to do is we will be having we will be using the useState hook here. So recipes and set recipes, because recipes will be this will be an empty array at first, or array of object use state. Okay, this is all auto imported, so this will be an empty array at first. So whenever we will find any sort of recipe, this set recipes, this will be updating the recipes variable, and you can see it. Okay, so now as we have this, the next hook that we are going to use is useEffect. useEffect. Okay, so in the useEffect hook, const fetch recipe equals async. This will be an async function because we are going to fetch data from an API, so it needs to be doing an async await stuff. Otherwise, you might end up having some errors, which we don't want. So inside that, we will await fetch, and here, what we are going to do is, I'm just going to copy the URL. Okay, and at the last stop, or the last part of here, we will be passing the query. Okay, so once we have this, we will be doing a then res.json. As you have already seen the data, so we are just retrieving the data here, and after that, I think, okay, then we will have the data, and here what we are going to, okay, here we will have the set recipes, and we will be using the data dot meals. Okay, so if I show you the recipe here, like as I've searched for chicken before, okay, you can see that it accesses, the data will be accessing meal first. So we have given here meals. All right, so this will fetch the data like anything you search for. So as we have this, the next thing that we will be doing is we will be calling this function fetch recipe. And as I'm using a use state and useEffect, so I'm using useEffect here. So it needs a dependency array, and what it needs as a dependency is the query, because with the change of query, we need our front end to change. So we're passing the query in the dependency array. This is the query that we're going to search for. And as we have this, the last step is return recipes. This is the recipes. Like once it is set, the data that we have retrieved, we are setting this into this variable, and we are returning this with this use recipe. So this is the custom hook that we wanted to create, and we have already created. And the final part of this hook will be export default use recipe. Okay, let's save it. All right. So now let's get back to app.js. And here we're going to do some stuff. Okay, we are going to use another hook, which is called useRef. You will be seeing it in a minute. All right. At first, let us just import useRecipe. Okay, we have imported that, and const query ref equals useRef. No, this is the query ref or the useRef hook that we will be using. We're naming it query ref, and we will be referencing this to the input field here. So, but before that, I think we need to import it. So let's just do it. Useref. We will be doing useRef instead of useReducer. We don't need this, so I'm going to remove that. And this will be a null value at the first place, so let's just point it here. Here, it will be ref equals query ref. Okay, let's just have it like this. Okay, as you can see that we have placed or referenced the query ref that we have just declared, the useRef hook, the query ref. We have referenced it in the input tag or the input field here. All right, so after that, we are going to have use states as well. So const, this will be recipe and set recipe state. Apparently, I think instead of recipe, I think it should be query. Let's just write query instead of recipe. That would make more sense because this is the thing that we're going to pass through the URL. Set query. Okay, use state, and by default, let's have the data from chicken to be available at first. Okay, so we need to import use state as well. So let's do that. Use state. Okay, so now that looks fine. All right. Now you will be seeing that we are going to use our own custom made, what should I say, custom hook. All right, so const recipes equals use recipe. And as you have already seen, if I go into this file, you can see that we are passing a parameter here, which you may also say a prop. So from here, we need to pass the query. So what we're going to do is we will be passing this query into this place. Okay. So once we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to have another function which is called generate recipe, because when you click on this button, you will be having this generate recipe on click function. So const generate recipe equals e. This refers to event, and e dot prevent default. And here we're going to have set recipe, which is no, I meant set query. This is the thing that we are referencing. Set query will be query ref. That is what we will be putting here. This will be referenced here. Dot current dot value. Okay. So I hope that would be it. Now we are going to do some changes, or we're going to update the HTML elements here. So this will stay as it is. We have already placed a reference here. And in case of button, we will be having an onClick function. OnClick function where we will have generate recipe. So this is what is going to be called when we click on the generate recipe button. And after that, after the click of the button, we want the details to be like displayed underneath the generate recipe button. So after the button, let's call what we have in recipes, because these recipes is calling the use recipe, that is the custom hook that we have created, and we are passing the query. That means whatever we search for here, then this will be searched on into the use recipe. As you can see, it will be used. I mean, this API URL will be used from the query, and the data that we get, something like if we search for chicken, these sort of data will be appearing or will be fetched. And from this, what we need is we will be using this str meal. That means this will be the title of the item or the dish, and str instructions or string instructions. This will be what we need. This is the recipe of what we are going to create. So here, just after the button, we're going to call recipes dot map. As you know, it might occur that there might be more than one recipe, so we're using the array, and we're using the map function to like traverse through the recipes, the area of objects. So this is how we are going to retrieve the data. So let's have meal as an iterator, and here let's create a div, and this div will be having a key which is meal dot id meal. As you can see that this is the ID, so we're using meal.id meal as a key. This is something just to ignore these sort of warnings, otherwise it's okay, you don't need to use that. So let's have an h4 tag here, and inside the tag we will be having the meal.str meal. So this is what we are fetching here, and we need to close this. And after this, we will have an h5 tag. Here, what we want is the recipe. So we will be I'm just gonna copy this and meal dot paste string instructions. All right, so that would be it. I will just save this, and let's see what we find. Let's go to the React application and let's refresh. Okay, so still now we are not getting anything. Let me just check if we have made any sort of mistakes or stuff. So okay, let's just go and inspect the console and let's see. Okay, so this expects a return value. I don't know why, but this should have been fine. Okay, so if it expects a return value, let's try with the return. And inside this, let's take this div. I don't know if this will be correct or not. Okay, this seems fine. If I save it, okay, now it seems to be working. Okay, fine. So it wanted a return. So as you can see that by default chicken is the value. So it searched for chicken, and you can see that chicken handi is a dish, and this is the recipe for the chicken handi. Then chicken kongi, this is another recipe. This is chicken karagi, as we wanted. So if we search for something else, like let's search for beef, as we've searched before, you can see. All right. Okay, so there might be some issues. Okay, let's just refresh. Okay. Let's just check back. Generate recipe. It says prevent default. It shouldn't have any sort of problems, I presume. Okay, how about like keeping this null at first? I don't know what that is. It just came by default. It came like every single recipe, I guess, has come. All right. So if we search for like chicken handi, what do we get? Generate recipe. Okay, it is okay. I got it. I got it. I'm sorry, it's my mistake. It should be prevent default. So let's just make it back to chicken. Save it. You can see chicken recipes here. If I search for beef and generate recipe, okay, now you can see that it was my mistake because it I I I wanted to write prevent default instead. I made a spelling mistake. So you can see that these sort of silly mistakes can harm the code or maybe waste a lot of time. All right, anyways, so as you can see that we have created the use recipe custom hook for ourselves, and we are using this in the application here. We're calling it, and this is executing everything that we wanted. So now this is the front-end application that I just made. It's not necessarily something like you have to make something like this, or it's the thing that you make whatever you want, and you can just use this sort of data. And about the API, as I said, that this is a free API and it doesn't have that much of data. I'm just using it for the purpose of the video. Otherwise, you can use something which consists of like millions of data, which won't have any sort of problems. So if you want to create something like that, you can do something just like this, like create your own custom hook, then use it in the application in any other applications as well. And the thing is, if you want the world to use it, you can just let me just show you, like inside the hooks folder where we have the use recipe, you can just go inside this folder and you can create a package.json with npm in it and like name the stuff. I've already shown, or I've already created a video about like npm JS, that is creating node modules or creating npm packages. So it's just the same thing. Like this will be an npm package. People will be either npm installing them or yarn adding them, and then using that in their like JavaScript or like specific, to be very specific, in their React applications. So basically that's what I wanted to show, and that's it for the video. I know, like, as I'm doing a live session, there might have been some problems maybe with the network, or and you might see that there are some waiting times as well, because when I normally create a video, like I can like cut off the places where I'm not talking, or something is like there is some processes that are already going on, so I can cut off those times and then like create a simple video with a very short amount of time. But I can see that already 30 minutes have passed. It was a very small application, and I hope this wasn't a waste of time, and I hope you've enjoyed it. So if you did, please be sure to like click the thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video or create any sort of live sessions like this, you will be notified immediately. So I'm first of all, I'm very sorry if I have made any sort of mistakes, because this is the first live session I'm doing, and there might be technical issues again, I'm saying. So just forget that, and I hope this video is useful. And okay, I didn't leave the link of this code down in the description below, but I will be doing it just after the video ends. So with that said, I'll leave today, and I'll see you in some other video. So till then, goodbye.